right, so Trent and I acquired these old boots. They are, about 120-ish years old. So, I mean, to put that in perspective, this is towards the end of the reign of Queen Victoria. Possibly her son, King Edward, takes over, but that's a long time ago. And these things are full of dating secrets. And so as we take them apart, we'll explain those to you. So.
Ready to keep going? No, man. Got to keep going. Got to keep. We're halfway there.
All right.
All right, let's go.
Now this top lift is rubber. It's just dry rotted, so old, but look how thick this thing is. Now this hill, where most modern day ones are plastic or wood that are wrapped, this is actually stacked leather. I counted and it's around 16 to 20 very thin layers of leather that have then been shaped. Old square iron nails. Usually you don't see those nowadays except for out of cowboy boots. You want to see something cool that you would not see on a lady's dress boot or high heel nowadays? Check this out. Look at that. Blind stitched on a heel. This isn't just glued on. Obviously, these have been redone at some point throughout history with a half sole. It's a little bit thicker than back here. They went through and just put it on with tacks, and they didn't stitch, so we're going to get it all back to what the original would look like. So we have to be real careful because this upper is actually made out of goat skin, which is very soft, and these tacks could rip it, so we got to be very careful. All right, so just a little bit of the inside, nails going around. They've got nails going up through the waist. You see that on men's dress shoes. You don't see that on ladies nowadays, on a lot of them. Here's the stitches. And then it looks like by the stitch density, the former cobbler used the old stitch holes for his tacks. So that's why there were so many tacks going around. They've got a piece of felt in here. You see felt sometimes in colder climates, shoes, they'll do that back in the day to add a layer of warmth. But there's the insole, and it is solid veg tan. Canvas lined.
So being the absolute historian nut that I am, I thought this was really cool and I wanted to share it. So we just pulled out these original liners from the boots. And what's so cool about this is to think that someone was walking on these exact same liners over 110 years ago. That is before the Titanic. It's pretty awesome.
That is why I normally run it through my 5-in-1, because that is actually, we had to special order this for this project because this is the thinnest that I can get our German pit tan. And yeah. Tacks all over the place. All right, we got our new sole. Remember, the original was blind stitched all the way around, had a closed channel. When you don't have a welt to follow, you can just cut it out exactly in the shape that it was. And since this thing is so thin, I'm not even gonna risk trying to cut it with all the turns and ups and downs when it's on the shoe. So I'm gonna do it when it's flat, then we can put it on and it's a lot easier, so. Now, I've cut it. I'm actually gonna wet this, fold it down so it really lays over, and then I'm gonna let it just sit and dry. That's gonna make it a lot easier when I go to stitch it to keep it from wanting to flat back over. It'll kind of mold in that shape.
Okay guys, so Heath has done the closed channel on this. Now what we're going to do is put a little brown ink on the inside. Now these are the originals, and as you can see, they did the same thing. They put a little brown ink all the way on the inside, just so that you won't be able to see this when it's actually on the boot. Kind of blends in. So let's get to inking. Okay guys, quick fact about this pair of boots. Now again, we are guesstimating that this pair of boots was around 1905 to 1910 based upon the research that we've done and some of the information that we've been given. Now, how much was a pair of boots like this worth back in 1905? Well, based upon some of the sales ads that we were able to find, boots are sort of like this pair, range between around $2 and $4 back in 1905. So what is that in today's dollars? Well, $2 back in 1905 was around $67 in 2022. If you go all the way up to $4, it is close to $135. So kind of a crazy jump, $2 to $4, all the way from 67 up to about 135. It's crazy. But again, the boots back then were just like shoes nowadays. A lot of it depended on what type of materials they were made out of, what type of things were added to it that could raise the price. But generally in 1905, $2 to $4. Pretty interesting fact.
All right, so this is probably, this is the only time that I've ever insole stitched a high heel. The insoles of these are, we wanted to leave them in place because we wanted to keep that original insole, just to keep, keep the original aspects of it. But it's old, it's fragile, so I'm pretty much having to hand crank this thing so that we don't tear it up from the inside. So. All right, so I told you that there were some clues in the shoe that would tell us how old these things are. Now, most of the clue is going to come from the heel. Now, I'm not familiar with this style of shoe, especially ladies' shoes during this period, but I reached out to another YouTuber who is actually a shoemaker, Vicky Dincheko. She makes bespoke vintage shoes from the Victorian age all the way up through the 1940s, and that's kind of her specialty. We're actually going to put a link to her page down in the description below. Now, she said that the secret of the heel is in the height and in the shape. Now, this particular heel is called a Louis heel, and from around 1900 to 1905, this is the style they had. From 1910 to 14, the buttons came in, and then after that, the laces came back. Just typical for women's fashion. It's always moving, but this style and this height of heel is from 1900 to 1905. Thanks, Vicky.
Okay, let me show you something really neat. It's kind of like going into an attic of an old house and you just find all kinds of neat stuff from decades ago that's hidden. Well, the same thing goes for this pair of boots. So as we got them, I was looking, and as you can see right here inside of the tag, it says Real Shoe Store, or Real Shoe Store, R-E-A-L, and then it says 285 or 265, hard to see number, The Arcade. So I'm assuming that's probably the shoe store where she bought these from way back in the day. Heath and I did a Google search for them, and it did not pull up anything, but I would love to know if any of you guys could possibly find out the information on it. Again, The Real Shoe Store, 265 or 285, The Arcade. If you find out, let us know down below. Okay guys, this pair of boots is done. Now, as always, before we show you what they look like now, just a couple of quick reminders. Guys, if you are not following us on our Instagram page and you have an Instagram account, definitely check us out over there. It is at Potter & Sons, and Heath and I post a lot more of the shoes and boots that we repair and resole throughout the week. We post over there. So if you like this sort of thing, then you'll get to see a lot more of the before and afters over on our Instagram account. Also, if you're looking to have your shoes or your boots resold, if you're looking for shoe care or leather care products, definitely check us out again at potterandsons.com. Again, guys, that is where you can find all of this information, potterandsons.com. Also, check out our other business, southernpolish.com. We'll have the links to all of those down below. Okay, now what do we do to this pair of boots? Okay, the one big thing that I want to get across is We wanted to keep the originality and authenticity of these boots as much as possible. Now again, guys, these boots are well over 110 years old, so we did not change out the insoles. We did not change out the inserts. We did not change out most of the heel stem. Those were all pieces that there's history to it. The original owner walked on those. You could feel their foot impression on those, and how cool is that? You know, what we did not want to do is rip all of that out, and it just changes the, you know, the whole shoe. So we kept as much of the originality as possible. Now what we did do was we took off that half sole that had been put on there at some point over the years. That half sole was probably put on probably 100 years ago as well, but it just was not the original portion of the boot. So we took all of that off, put on a new leather sole, we blind stitched it, and just like the original was, and then glued that back on. We dyed the sole dark brown, which is what color the original one looks like it was. And then with the heel stem, we had to do a lot of work on that. Now, when we were taking off the little rubber top lift part, some of that we just could not reuse. It was just worn out, and we had to build up the heel stem just a little bit, and it took a lot of sanding. Honestly, of the entire boot, that was probably the hardest part of it. It was just a lot of sanding to get that whole, you know, curvature of the heel stem. You know, so I think we got it back as close as possible, and I think the boot came out looking great. You know, we also conditioned the uppers, put a little polish on there. Those leather uppers had not seen conditioner in, God, probably decades. So we really put a lot of conditioners back in there, and they'll probably last another 100 years or more. So I think these boots look fantastic. I love, again, that the original inserts and soles are still there and intact. What a cool project. We absolutely loved it. It was the oldest pair of footwear that we've had in Potter & Sons since we started. So it was fun. Okay guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you want to see more of this video, then hit the little thumbs up button down below. Let us know that you enjoyed it. Also leave us a comment, guys. We want to hear from you. Did you enjoy this type of video? Do you want to see more of this type of video? Also, if you have any amazing old footwear out there, shoot us an email, let us know, send us some pictures. Not everyday footwear. I want to see your old stuff. So again, let us know. Okay guys, we really appreciate you watching, and until next time, y'all have a good one.